We're previewing Week 13 in the NFL, and right now we're talking with Al McMordie from BigAl.com, who gave us a great pick last week with Tennessee covering over Oakland. And Al, I know, has a sick record in the NFL this year, right, Al?
It's been a terrific week, or no, I'm sorry, it's been a terrific year in the NFL. Last week we were 6-4 in pro football. We've won virtually every week for the season now. 52 wins, 30 losses in pro football, documented by the Sports Monitor. Last season ranked #1 in the NFL top plays, cashing 77%. So if folks want NFL winners, just go to BigAl.com.
Man, 52-30, capping these tough NFL lines, and that's a huge sample size for one season. That is a very impressive record, Al.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, let's get into a New Orleans and Seattle. This is going to be, a very popular game to analyze and probably to bet on. High-profile game. Everyone's going to weigh in with opinions here. Seattle's a 5.5-point home favorite. The total's 47, and we know that Seattle's always very, very dangerous at home, no matter who they're playing, and they're off a bye, so you have to figure that gives them an edge. One big negative, though, is we know suspensions and injuries at cornerbacks. They're going to be thin there, but in other areas of the game, they probably stand to get a little bit healthier after the bye, and the Saints have injury issues of their own. Darren Sproles is banged up. So, again, I guess, gun to my head, I'd have to take Seattle minus 5.5 at home. But, giving 5.5 points to a team like New Orleans is not a thing that would make me feel comfortable. What do you like here, Al?
You're sort of, reading my mind with everything you're saying there, Peter. This has to be the best game of the season thus far, with apologies to Denver versus Kansas City a couple weeks ago, where Kansas City had the great record, but aren't necessarily a great team. Here you've got a 10-1, Seahawks team facing a 9-2 New Orleans team. So the winner of this game is going to get a leg up on the #1 seed in the NFC conference. So, what a tremendous game, for Monday Night Football. Peter, I'm well aware of the pitfalls of playing on unbeaten or one-loss teams at this time of the season. Yeah. They generally are a 38% proposition from game 12 on out. That being said, I'm going to lay the points with Seattle. You mentioned the rest factor. That's one reason. Seattle at home with rest or without rest has been amazing the last few years. They come into this game on a 13-game win streak at home. They're 10-3 against the spread in those 13 games. Going back further, we find that Seattle is 28-12 against the spread its last 40 at home. You can't go against these kind of numbers. I've been to games in Seattle. They've got the strongest home crowd, the loudest home crowd in all of the NFL, and that's part of the reason why they are so good at home, covering 28 of their last 40. When you look at their last two games at home with rest, they won both of those by double digits, covering the spread in each. New Orleans, on the other hand, when it travels and plays a team with rest, New Orleans just 2-5 ATS its last 7 in that situation. So even though, in general, teams with one loss or unbeaten at this time of year tend to be overvalued, you're not going to find that here when you're going up against a team that's 9-2. I think the line is slightly undervalued for Seattle now that it's come below the 6. You're only laying 5.5 for the Seahawks. That's good enough for me. I'll lay the points.
What do you make of the total, though? 47. Is that looming a little bit high? I mean, Seattle has a very productive offense, but it's not very pass-heavy necessarily relative to other teams. They have a very run-heavy offense. And New Orleans, we know the deal with them. Their defense is much stronger this year than it has been in past years. And, outside of the dome, you figure their passing game probably takes a little hit, especially with the crowd noise at Seattle. What do you think about maybe under 47?
I like it under 47 for different reasons. We saw it last night. We're recording this on a Tuesday. We saw it in the Washington-San Francisco game. Yeah. In general, Monday Night Football games with totals over 44 points tend to go under the number. Going back to 1980, I think it's 103-70 or 104-70, something like that, where you just take the under whenever you get a high number on a Monday Night Football game. And I've got other reasons to like the under in this situation, but I would lean to the under in the game.
All right, there you go. Awesome insights and analysis from Al McMordie, as usual. And your official pick on this game is going to be Seattle minus 5.5 or the under.